Hello, hi, I'm Pam Abassa, and I am coming. This is day 4 of my 31 days of highly effective childcare marketing, and I started this challenge 3 days ago, so this is day 4. And over the last 3 days, every single day, I have been doing a Facebook Live and sharing with you my best marketing tips. I am the queen of marketing when it comes, especially when it comes to childcare. Well, when it comes to any business really, but the childcare sector is quite unique, and I am a co-owner of a chain of nurseries, and I have managed to keep our nurseries full and with a waiting list over a long period of time. And so over the next few days, over the next 31 days even, I am sharing with you my tips on how I managed to do that so that you can do the same too. Now, I have recently founded a company called Childcare Service Providers, and you can find that at childcareserviceproviders.com. And over there, I blog and I create videos about my journey as a childcare owner and manager, and I talk about everything that you need to know. So I talk about the problems that I encounter and how I solve them, and some things I haven't been able to solve, and I still share those things with you. And the reason I do that is because when I first became a manager, when I first came into owning a nursery, I couldn't really find any outlet where I could find information or advice for the number of things that I was faced with, and so I decided to create my own for everybody else out there. So do visit the website. However, you are here right now, and if you haven't liked this page, please like it now so that you can have access to all my 31 days worth of training. It is free, so it is free right now, so like it so that you can have access to it, and most importantly so that you can use it. Just to let you know as well, I have created a handy PDF, and I am putting the link to that PDF at the very top of this message and at the bottom of this message so that you can download the link and keep it for yourself. You can share this with your deputy. If you are an owner, you can share it with the manager. You can also share it with your team. But most importantly, you can use it to get fully booked and build a waiting list for your setting. So this is day 4. Over the first 3 days, I have been talking about how to do an audit. However, for the sake of keeping this short, please have a look at those other videos, because when you first do an audit of your setting and you truly understand which areas you need to market, then you know how to approach those areas, and so that your marketing can be highly effective. However, today, I want to teach you something that I learned from McDonald's. Now, I am not a spokesperson for McDonald's, and I don't even eat McDonald's. However, I have learned something very important to them that I have used in my setting, and I think you could use too. Now, what can we learn? When I say McDonald's, so McDonald's, the fast food chain, the big M, McDonald's, when I say that, what do you think about? When I hear it, I certainly think about fast food, I think about children, and I think about the branding, which is the big yellow M, which you see everywhere. That is how you recognize where a McDonald's is, because it's their branding, it's their logo, it's their name, and they put it right there in front of you. However, that's not actually where I'm going. Where I'm going is this. Now, I have a 2-year-old, and one day I was driving and my 2-year-old said, "Mummy, Donald's." I looked back and I said, "What did you just say?" Now, at that stage, I had never even given him McDonald's, but of course he's, spent time with his older cousins, and I'm sure he's had it somewhere. Someone's given it to him, and that's fine. It's not poison. It's fine, even if that's not what I choose to offer him. But so he said, "Mummy, Donald's," and the funny thing about it is, when you offer my son any of that type of food, he wouldn't actually eat it. And so he said, "Mummy, Donald's," and he kept going, and I just thought, oh my goodness, I'm just going to pull through the drive-through and get a Happy Meal. And I did that, and I noticed he didn't even eat the food. What he went for was the toy in the box. And I thought, hold on a minute, I have just, done this for you, and you didn't even want the food. You wanted just the toy? And it really got me thinking about the brand McDonald's. And have you ever wondered, why do they call it a Happy Meal? And have you also ever wondered what is in this Happy Meal? So they have some chips, they have a burger or some nuggets, I believe, and they have a toy. And it's they always have a toy in there, and it changes every time. And what I noticed is that most children, the reason they would actually go for a Happy Meal is so that they can have the toy. And so we as parents, we go into McDonald's and we invest in their services. We invest in their businesses by buying the Happy Meal for our child. But the real reason our child wants it isn't even for the meal itself, it's for the toy. So how do you use this information? Well, it taught me that there is power in a shiny silver object. I'm just going to call it that right now. There is power in offering a freebie to your audience to keep them coming, to want them to come to you. So how do we use this in, say, a childcare setting? Well, let me give you examples of how I use this. So, for example, if a parent comes into your setting for the first time, one of the things, that you could do is to have your shiny object for them to take away. So that could be a goodie bag with some information about your setting. So they've come into your setting, you've shown them around, and they're about to leave. So you send them off with a goodie bag, and it has something inside along with information about your setting. So what is your shiny bullet? What is your toy in your Happy Meal? Let's say the goodie bag is the Happy Meal box that you get in McDonald's. So what is the toy that you put in? Well, it can be simple as some tea bags, a pen with your branding, with your nursery branding on it, some tea bags. What else can you have in it? I know that some settings who I have worked with have, a packet of biscuits, the individually wrapped biscuits. And what you can do as well is you can, I know on eBay and on Amazon, in fact, many companies, if you Google, you will find, do stickers. And stickers you can personalize. So you can actually put your nursery logo on these stickers and fix it onto the packet of the biscuits, pop it into the goodie bag, and as they go home, they can, as they're munching on their biscuits, what are they doing? They are remembering you. You become their Happy Meal. You are their Happy Meal. And it's so important to do this, because what you want to do, in the midst of competition, and there is so much competition, there are so many nurseries out there, so many preschools, so many childminders, babysitters, nannies, there are so many different people in this childcare sector that you really cannot just rest on your laurels and think that children and parents will just flood into your setting. Well, they could, but there are so many other settings that they could go to. So we have to be smart about marketing. So going back to my question, what could we learn about McDonald's, about highly effective childcare marketing? Well, that is to have a silver bullet, to have something, a freebie that parents leave with. Now, one of the freebies that I actually have is a free book, that's parents leave with. It's a children's book, and it can be any book that you want to, and it doesn't have to be expensive as well, and I'm going to talk about that next. So I put a children's book into the goodie bag, and parents take that away with them. And what happens? When they get home and they are reading the story to their child, they are remembering my nursery. And if they're ever tossed between, should we go with this nursery or should we go with this nursery? Which nursery do you think they would go with? They would go with the one that, one, they remember, two, that they had the best experience with, and the freebie is part of that experience. So you're probably, your next question is, but Pam, how do we afford this? We're struggling already to stay sustainable. We're struggling to pay our staff. We are struggling to just keep our doors open, essentially. So now you are adding yet another thing that we ought to pay for. Well, there are so many ways that you can, cut costs when it comes to this. One, you can do a fundraiser at your setting along with the children to raise money. And when it comes to ordering, what I would advise you to do is look into places like Alibaba.com. And you can order from, from abroad, from other countries where you can order in bulk. And, for as little as 25p, you can have, a really good freebie that hasn't cost you a lot, but when you measure the return on your investment, so if you measure the fact that the number of children that you could potentially register, and the number of full-time children that you could potentially register, and how long they might stay with you for, then that is such a small investment to make. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. That is one thing that I always take away from McDonald's, and that is they have very, very strong branding, and in their logo, in the end, they have a very, very strong way of naming the things that they offer, such as the Happy Meal. But most importantly, they have the shiny object, the shiny bullet in that box, and that is the toy. And, you know, like my son, you know, he wouldn't go for the Happy Meal to actually eat the food. He wants mummy to buy him the Happy Meal so that he can have the toy. So what is your equivalent of the Happy Meal, and what is your equivalent of that toy? And how can you use that towards highly effective childcare marketing? Thank you so much for joining me today. Do go ahead, please share this video with your audience. Even if you think, I don't know anybody who runs a nursery, I don't know anybody who is a manager. You never know. I'm sure you have, you know, hundreds of people on your Facebook profile, and you never know what they all do. But if you share it, I would really appreciate it, and I'm hoping that it will help a number of people out there. Thank you very much. I will be back tomorrow for day 5 of 31 days of highly effective childcare marketing. Visit www.childcareserviceproviders.com for all of my fantastic videos. Thank you.